Hi guys, how are things? As promised, we're back with another video in a week. I hope you're all well. The temperature's dropping a little bit here now in Ireland. So, what we're talking about today is the ubiquitous ferro rod. And I've come across something recently that works fantastic, and I recommend that people take a look at this, because the assumption is once a ferro rod is struck, once we're creating this spark, that it's highly effective. Well, that's not necessarily true. And I like to see, when I strike my ferro rod, I like to see the shards that have been scraped off this ferrocerium rod dancing on the ground. So it's not just a question that you sharpen your knife to the point, the back of your knife or whatever you're using, that it just creates a spark, because that could be with perfect things like cotton balls or whatever, that's ideal. But when we move into something like this that is marginal, or feather sticks, now I'm using this wood shavings today, and the purpose of that is there's a consistency throughout it. So if I try one method with one striker and I try another striker, we know that this is consistent, which may not be the case if we just use feather sticks. So when I'm teaching a course, yes, I like everyone to have a 90-degree spine on their knife. I find that very, very beneficial, not just for scraping a ferro rod. And probably the Altiroid Genesis is the best in the business that I've come across for striking a ferro rod. The LT puts sensational spines on his knife. Now, the problem with that is sometimes people that are not really used to using knives as a ferro rod striker in a survival scenario could cut the tops of their fingers off or something like that. It is a possibility. So on courses, I teach people to use a broken hacksaw blade, and it's very, very effective ferro rod striker as well, because bear in mind that this is somewhat harder than steel, so it can facilitate the cutting of steel. So it makes a good, actually a very good striker. But I came across this. It's called a SPEEDY SHARP, and I carry this in my pocket all the time. Absolutely brilliant bit of kit, guys. And we have a piece here, and this is the piece that we use for sharp. We can also sharpen our knives now in the wiles in the event of the knife becoming dull. Would I recommend this? Like, I don't recommend to go home and sharpen your knives with these, but I would say if you have this in your pocket and you're in a survival scenario, you have something that can put a workable edge back. It's not going to put Japanese waterstone type edge on your knife, but it will put a workable edge back on your knife. It's a tungsten carbide, and of course all it was really designed for is striking, is for sharpening. But look at this now. I'm pretty sure you can see the difference, and you can see these shards of dancing ferro rod that I was talking about. Now we're just going to conduct a little experiment here. I don't know how this is going to go, but we'll figure it out as we go along. So we're going to try some cotton balls, and I know, like, I mean, a cotton ball or a fluffed out piece of cotton is really not a great exercise for testing something to strike your ferro rod, because it is absolute premium ignition ready. So first off, we're going to try it with the hacksaw blade, okay? And the method that we always teach is that you don't push forward in a way that you can push your tinder all over the place. We pull, anchor and pull our hands back, okay? And there we go. Okay, so that's our hacksaw blade. Now we're going to move on to the Altiroid Genesis. And same principle again, and away we go, one strike. Okay, and next we're going to move on to the SPEEDY SHARP. Okay, and one strike. Now, I'm just assuming that even on the camera you can see that there's a difference there in the spark flow from that. So we're going to move on to a more marginal piece of tinder that we would use for ignition, or could use. Now obviously you're not going to come across this in the wilds, but the reason I'm using this is for consistency across the board, so we can see how one does or doesn't work. Like I said, if I'm making feathers, we could have 3 or 4 feathers and they mightn't be all the same consistency. So first off, we're going to try with the hacksaw blade. Okay, so that's proven difficult. We're going to move on to the Genesis. Okay, so 5 strikes. Now, like I said, this is definitely marginal tinder for a ferro rod. So you can see it's certainly creating sparks, both of them, but that's not to say it's throwing sufficient amount of hot sparks to result in an ignition. Now I don't know if this will or not. Now in fairness, first strike. Now we like, it's clear to see the difference there. I'm not trying to make a hacksaw blade fail, and the Altiroid Genesis is without question the greatest spine on any knife I've ever used. It's incredible. The purpose of this is not to put down the use of the hacksaw blade, which is very, very safe. No one ever cut the tops of their fingers off with one of these. The Altiroid Genesis, which is absolutely amazing, but look at how good this is. And I just think that it's really, really worthwhile having in your pocket, because you can sharpen a tool, whether it be an axe or a knife or whatever. Now, I didn't actually think that would have ignited that wood shavings with the first strike, to be honest with you, but I did think it would have ignited, because it's very tactile. You can feel how much more it's taken off the ferro rod. And just while we're at it, guys, not all ferro rods are created equal, and this is the light my fire, and this is the ferro rod I favour. I just like the consistency in it. I don't think that a €1 Japanese, or sorry, Chinese ferro rod is as good that you get off eBay. These are time proven and I really, really like them. So guys, that's it, the Speedy Sharp. I think I got this one off eBay. They're about €12. I definitely think they're an investment, because I like stuff as well that can cover a multitude of uses, and this certainly can do that as well, because you know, you've got a sharpener, a pocket sharpener on you, as well as this fantastic ferro rod striker. So guys, we'll see you back next week. We're going to be testing a knife next week. Thanks for dropping by and stay well.